Bezzi. I work for CyberSocial Lab in Rome. We are a partner of Civil Society and we study the social dimension of 6G. Yes, we study the social dimension of 6G. So it means trying to understand which are the aspects that characterize the relationship between 6G and society. How the technology of 6G will operate in society. We focused especially at the beginning of our research on three main topics: the social impact, the aspects of values, and on social acceptance. Social impact means understanding the transformational potential of 6G in society, how it's gonna change our lives. Values means understanding the values, the important things, the priorities that are foundational in these visions of 6G, in the policy framework, in the strategic framework that informs technology development, but also asking ourselves reflectively, whose are these values, whose are these priorities? And acceptance means understanding what characteristics shall a technology have in order to be well received by society, by different groups of society, and also in order to generate a meaningful impact in society and benefits of the whole society. Over these 2 years, we have cooperated in a number of initiatives within the 6G Industrial Association, sitting at the tables where the decisions are taken as concerns the future of this technology, but also interacting with a number of projects within the SNSJU community, interviewing them, understanding their approach. The way we operate and the contribution we bring to this context is to bring our social science perspective, and we believe that the value of this is really to bring a different perspective, a third perspective. So helping in not only seeing things from a different point of view, but also bringing some additional nuances or components to or scope, breadth to the way aspects are analyzed. In particular, we think we have supported the discussion in a number of specific aspects. For example, in supporting in better understanding the specific interplay that happens between the concept of values and society. So how these two elements define each other and are in a constant dynamics or mutual definition, which was not always clear, and also to understand in which part of the innovation processes values intervene, basically, for the process. Another aspect is how understanding and interpreting impact. So the social science perspective on the impact of technology is a bit broader than that is commonly dealt with within innovation processes, because social sciences look at the wider so-called second-order effect, not only in society as large, but also in the life of individuals on other types of levels, like the cognitive level, psychological level, relational level, well-being, physical and mental well-being. So it is a matter of breadth. Another aspect, and this is connected, it's very much connected to a major objective within the SNSGU community, which is sustainability. Sustainability, which is framed and elaborated on 3 pillars: economic, environmental, and the third pillar is social sustainability. And in order to understand social sustainability, you need to understand which are the levels of impact on society. So we try to introduce, or at least making aware the community of a number of additional nuances through which this concept can be interpreted. Then it is up to the collaboration with the community to understand in which specific context these nuances are relevant and would be perhaps uptaken and addressed in the development of technology. Then another key aspect we dealt with is regarding the process that leads to the identification of key value indicators, starting from the identification of key values important for driving technological development. Similarly, we address the issue of social acceptance, and our approach to that again is a bit broader because it tends to go beyond the traditional models focusing on user experience and tests done with individuals, looking at the more systemic levels and including different levels of society, more at the stakeholder interaction level, power dynamics, social aspect, political aspect, market aspects. Yes, it is a methodology centered on the concept of acceptance. This is because the concept of acceptance is key, is very useful to better understand and access certain dynamics that characterize the relationship between the technology and society. So around this concept, we elaborated a model. We call it the Social Acceptance of Technology Framework, SAT, that helps us understanding and analyzing the dynamic of acceptance in a very comprehensive way. Meaning, first of all, taking into account the whole social-technical system. The social-technical system is the whole cultural environment within which a technology is conceived and then gets to operate. This is directly connected to the mutual relationship between values and technology, where the cultural context influences the development of the technology, which in turn gets to impact and transform the social realities. So this is the first overarching aspect of the model. And taking into account, starting from this context, we get to analyze the dynamic of acceptance. This means going beyond the very specific perspective of user experience that, as we said, capture the perception of one individual in a specific and given moment in time. As such, it's useful but not exhaustive. We get to capture the influence of other systemic elements that influence the processes of acceptance, or of adoptions as well, but acceptance is more general, like the market level, the political aspects that influence a certain context, but also we look at the dynamics between different social groups and different interests that come to interact in a context, which are especially interesting if there are power dynamics between these stakeholders. If there are different interests at stake and these interests make conflict among them. between each other. And in these cases, normally at the social level, controversies may arise. The approach to these controversies is another important aspect in our studying acceptance. So normally controversies are received as something negative that need to be overcome and solved. But in fact, the controversies are very useful and have to be approached as a way to better know which are the things that are important for certain groups in society, because they make to elicit different priorities, different visions of the world that different parts of the society may have, and which may be different from the mainstream priorities that orient and inform technological directions. So controversies are important to be looked at. Also, our vision and approach to acceptance covers both acceptance and acceptability. So acceptance is what happens when a technology is brought to society and to the market, and is either well received or less well received. Acceptability is another thing. It concerns to the capacity of a certain technology to be in line and incorporate, first of all, whatever principle comes from the legal and regulatory framework, but also incorporate ethic reflections and that values that we aim to reinforce in society, or we aim to pass to society, from which it's extremely important the way we explore which are our driving values, what we mean by social values, because there are different groups with different values and priorities. So acceptance, the way we want to convey it, is not something we can capture in a specific moment in time, but it's rather an exploration that in order to enlarge our vision of what is important for society, and it's a dynamic process. First of all, the SAT model is based on three main guiding principles. One is human-centeredness, then leave no one behind, and ethic balance. It aims at analyzing and exploring acceptance through four main dimensions. One is user experience, which is always useful. The second is disruptiveness, value impact, and then trust. Then there are a number of steps that it elaborates upon. The first is exploration of the stakeholder environments. Then the exploration of the values that these different stakeholders bring forward, the values that are important for each part in the context. And then the identification from these values of main ethics principle values, and the consideration about impact, and of course this step that help us to reflect this ethical consideration, value consideration, and impact consideration into the technical work through the translation from this consideration into requirements. All these steps are very important for, and they correspond very much to the work to be done to get to KPIs, starting from the identification of values. It is to be said that this model is modular in the sense that it needs to be contextualized to each different technology situation, different types of technology. So it really needs to be tailored to different contexts. And and also, of course, it is aimed at supporting technology development as of the onset, in order to make sure that most of these considerations are truly embedded into technology.